Hey everyone! It's a question we all think about at some point. What's the legacy we leave behind? Today we're going to dig into that, but through a story that's, well, it's pretty tough, but it really shines a light on what truly matters in the end.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. It's Seoul, 1989. The whole country is just booming. I mean, the economy is on fire. People are making fortunes overnight in real estate. There's this incredible energy everywhere, a feeling of endless progress and prosperity. But underneath all that excitement, behind those headlines about economic miracles, something else was happening. In a quiet part of the city, a family story was unfolding that would just send a shockwave through the whole nation. It was a choice made by four young sisters, a choice that just couldn't have been more different from the hopeful mood of the country. All right, so this brings us to our first section, a song from a tragedy. Because this one event, this heartbreaking story, it actually forced a whole nation to hit the pause button, to look past the booming economy and ask some really tough questions about what life's all about. So here's what happened, and it's just devastating. You have these four sisters. The oldest had just finished elementary school. And they felt so crushed by their family's poverty, they came to believe they were a burden that their parents just shouldn't have to carry. And tragically, while the three older girls survived, the youngest, who was only 6 years old, she didn't make it. You can imagine, in a country just laser-focused on growth and getting rich, a story like this was a complete and utter shock. Well, this story really hit a Christian musician named Lee Juho hard, and it sparked this sudden realization for him. You know, what we really need as people, it isn't more money. It's not more success. It's love. It's just looking out for each other. And he poured all of that feeling into a song that basically said, hey, our real legacy isn't about what we own, it's about what we give. And that idea, that's what brings us to section 2, the memories we leave behind. It's funny, right? We like to think we can sort of design how people will remember us, but the truth is, our legacy isn't something we just get to announce. It's something our lives choose for us, and a lot of times in ways we would never, ever expect. So, I want to ask you this, straight up. When you're gone, what's the one thing, the single image or feeling that the people who love you are going to hold on to? I'm willing to bet it's probably not what you think it is. And a memory that defines someone can come from the weirdest places. The writer of our source material tells this great story about his dad. His father once asked him, just out of the blue, when you eat strawberries, do you eat the best one first or the worst one? As a kid, he was probably just like, what? It seemed totally random. But years later, he got it. He really got it. The question wasn't about the right way to eat strawberries at all. It was about how we live our lives. See, the person who eats the best one first, they get to enjoy the best of what they have right away. But the person who saves the best for last, well, in a way, they're always putting up with the worst, always waiting for that perfect moment that might not even come. This one little quirky question revealed a huge truth about a person's entire approach to life. And that's the kind of thing that sticks with you. And this is a perfect example of the difference between just a passive memory and an active legacy. The writer talks about two totally different memories of his grandmother. The first one is passive. He remembers her being sick a lot, lying in the warmest room in the house with this very specific deer-shaped pillow. But the second memory, that's all action. Even though she was tired, every single Friday she would get up, grab her Bible, and head out the door to lead her church group. One memory is just being there. The other is about purpose. So which one do you think really defined who she was? Right. And this all leads us perfectly into section 3, actions louder than words. Because all these stories, the sisters, the strawberries, the grandmother, they're all pointing to one single massive truth about what our legacy is really made of. And here it is. This is the big one. Our legacy, when you boil it all down, is defined by our actions. They just carry so much more weight than our words or even what we think or intend to do. I mean, you can't just tell your kids, hey, remember me as being wise and kind. It doesn't work that way. They're going to remember what you did, day in and day out. And think about that for a second. That kind of legacy, it's not built overnight. It doesn't come from one big speech you give or one brilliant idea you had that one time. No, it's forged. It's built piece by piece from the sum total of all your small, consistent, daily actions. It's the pattern of your life that leaves the deepest mark. Okay, so let's take this idea a step further in section 4, an inherited flame. This is where the whole idea of legacy gets even bigger, even more powerful. It's when we stop seeing it as just one person's memory and start seeing it as something that can be handed down generation after generation. So, our source material talks about this as a legacy of faith. But honestly, you can apply this to any set of values you hold dear. It's this idea of a heritage that you don't pass down by writing it in your will or by giving a lecture. Nope, it's passed on when your kids and grandkids just watch you. They see how you actually live your life. And the source gives a great example from the Bible, from the book of 2 Timothy. The Apostle Paul is writing to his mentee, Timothy, and he reminds him, hey, that sincere faith you have, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's a legacy. It first lived in his grandmother, Lois. Then it was passed to his mother, Eunice, and now it lives in him. You can literally see the chain, forged by one person's lived example after another. But here's the catch. Just getting this inheritance, that's not the end of the story. A legacy isn't some fragile antique you stick in a display case. As the source says, the whole point is to use it, to fan into flame the gift of God. It's a living fire, not some cold statue. Okay, but what if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't really see that chain in my family? What if you're the first one to really live by these principles? Well, that's amazing. It doesn't mean you're missing a legacy. It means you're starting one. You are the first link in a brand new chain. The inheritance that you're going to pass down, it starts right now with you.
And that brings us right to our final section. What will you leave behind? Because all of these big, timeless ideas, they land squarely on your shoulders. The challenge isn't just some story from the past anymore. It's personal, and it's for right now. There's a real fear out there today, a kind of anxiety that these legacies of values, that they're fading, that the chain is breaking. You hear people talk about it, you see it in families and communities. It's a genuine worry for a lot of us. So, what do we do about it? Well, the source gives us this really powerful call to action. Live your life as if you were writing your own epitaph, but not with words, not with some fancy phrase you hope people will remember. Write it with your actions. Because when it comes down to it, the values you actually live out today, your consistency, your compassion, your purpose, they don't just define your life right now. They become the source of strength for others tomorrow. They become the inspiration. Your actions today are literally their inheritance. So, we end right back where we started. After all of this, the heartbreaking story, the funny memories, the idea of an inherited flame, it all comes down to this one simple, massive question that only you can answer.